What are the chances we flip?
He spelled it wrong, but it's Nyjalik.
Nyjalik Kelly. And what are the chances with the Homestead duo?
Nyjalik Kelly from Dillard High School here in Central Fort Lauderdale, the singular arts magnet school in Broward County, in case you were wondering. But they've always had a strong football program through the course of history. Guys like Hall of Famer Isaac Bruce went there. John Ford, who's on our roster currently, went there. Stephon Zayas, big, tall, long, lean defensive end from UCF, was on the same team, same defensive line as John Ford. And there was another guy who ended up going FCS to an HBCU who was on that defensive line who was real good as well. So, I tell you to tell, that that's a traditional power program. Maybe not your St. Thomas Aquinas kind of power program, but Dillard is a legacy program here in Fort Lauderdale. So Nyjalik Kelly is the next great defensive end or defensive lineman along the lines of, those guys who I mentioned, the Stephon Zayas, who was 6'5", but 180 pounds, 190 pounds in high school before finally getting in the college weight room. Nyjalik Kelly's bigger than that. He's a 4-star kind of kid. He has visited virtually with Miami. So I think that there is a chance there that Miami can come in and flip, especially with what we've done on the defensive line, particularly with defensive ends. You're going to have 2 first-rounders, and then, in Jalen Phillips and Gregory Rousseau. Then you're going to have another guy in Quincy Roche, who should be top 75, if not higher than that, in this same draft. You got length, talent, athleticism, and then you got a great coach in Jess Simpson, who's developed all kinds of guys who are already in the NFL, and then these current guys who are stepping up as well. So there is the potential for that. So that's Nyjalik Kelly, the first part of his question. The second part of his question was the Homestead duo, that being Dante Anderson and the defensive tackle kid, Daniel Lyons. Homestead, that, who's from Homestead? Antrell Roll went to South Dade, but that's the rival school in the city of Homestead. We've had other guys from Homestead Senior High School come to Miami. So it's a defensive end and a defensive tackle, Anderson being the end and Lyons being the defensive tackle. It really comes down to what we're looking for, I think. I would take Dante Anderson. There are some guys on the list that I would like before him, to be perfectly honest. But he's not a guy who I would not take at Miami. Just if I'm, in a utopian world, I might not have room for him because I'm getting these other guys. But you got guys like Shamar Stewart, who's, arguably in the conversation for the #1 player in America from Monsignor Pace, and he's not going to come here. He doesn't want to, you know what I'm saying? He's probably going to go SEC. All right, well, then that takes one of my utopian world guys out of this recruiting class, and I'm going to, go down the list and things like that. So, and I think that obviously what happens with Nyjalik Kelly is going to inform that Dante Anderson conversation, because if you get Nyjalik Kelly, if you get a Kenyatta Jackson, if you get, maybe one of these other guys, who especially even in South Florida, not even looking anywhere else, just down here. If you flip Nyjalik Kelly and you get Kenyatta Jackson, you're going to go all out for Marvin Jones Jr., hopefully. I know that his dad went to Florida State. You heard the name. You know what I mean? But if you get those three guys, I ain't got no room for you, bro. But if you miss on one of those guys, or it looks like you're going to miss, and you say, okay, let's cut bait now and kind of refocus. I mean, look, I'm still calling Dante Anderson. I'm still connecting with him and communicating and everything. But again, in my utopian world, my perfect recruiting world, I gave you 4 names that I want before him, me, myself, personally. Are we going to get all of those? No, we're not going to get all 4 of those. But even if I get 3 of those 4, I've already hit my number. I'm good. I'm sorry, I got room for you. And again, that's going to be a thing where you're going to have to make that decision. And again, maybe the coaches like him a little bit more than I do. Maybe things break with another guy and you're like, cool, I'm not getting Marvin Jones Jr. He's already said, thanks, guys. I go to American Heritage guys, other than Nesta and Kyleon Herbert and James Williams. Heritage guys don't go to Miami. Cool, I'm not coming. Awesome. So now maybe you're only looking at 2. so guys to potentially get, and then you're adding on or looking at a Dante Anderson. So just those kind of things. And again, you got to make these decisions. You got to make these tough choices. There's too many guys to take everybody. And I was actually just talking with Harrison Tenzer. If you follow my Twitter, you know who he is. He's a Florida Gator fan. He's from down here, went to St. Thomas Aquinas, follows recruiting very well, knows a lot of stuff. But one of his classmates from Aquinas was Elijah Moore, who's at Ole Miss, blowing up, ran a 4.3, 4.40, really elevating where he's going to get drafted and everything. And I'm just like, you have room for him. You know what I mean? It's like, whoa. He's like, oh, if you want to win, put noodles in, referring to Mark Pope's nickname. Coming out of high school, taking Mark Pope over Elijah Moore was absolutely the move you did. I'm sorry. And again, not saying that Elijah Moore was not good or a player who could play here, but if I had to choose at that time between Mark Pope and Elijah Moore, I'm taking Mark Pope. Hands down. You look now, their progressional path and their performance has dictated something else, but that was a tough decision that we had to make. Okay, maybe it wasn't between Mark Pope and Elijah Moore. It might have been more D. Wiggins and Elijah Moore, and okay, maybe we went a different way, but D. Wiggins is 6'3", and Elijah Moore is 5'10", and those might have, outside constraints or outside factors influencing that decision. Same thing, that similar thing is what I'm talking about with defensive end. You have to place value on these guys and what you're doing to build this roster. And you're going to have to make these tough choices. And a good player, and again, I gave you 5 names. Kenyatta Jackson, Shamor Stewart, Marvin Jones Jr., Dante Anderson, Nyjalik Kelly. That's 5 blue chip defensive ends in South Florida this year. We're not going to get all of them. We don't have room to take all of them. So at some point, tough decisions are going to have to be made. Now, our hand could be forced if 3 of those guys say, we're not coming, we focus on the other 2. What happens if you don't get them? Maybe, there's recruiting misses as well. But it's just kind of those things. So I kind of went short story long on that, but that's kind of where my brain is.
Dante Anderson is a 6'3", weak side defensive end, 205 pounds, top 20 player in the state, 10th rated at his position, top 161 is his overall rating, 247 Sports. Then you've got Daniel Lyons, a defensive tackle at 6'4", 270, 19th rated at his position, number 262 in the 247 Sports Composite, number 32 in the state of Florida.